Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. This fuzzy one right here is Freya. I'm Jason, bringing you bringing you today's episode. As always guys, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We really appreciate the support. Small family and fuzzy channel. Just love to bring you guys books and love to talk about books especially, and bring you guys new authors. So for today I want to talk about an author that I've talked about in the past, talked about a lot in the past. He's definitely one of my favorite authors, grew up reading him, and that is Louis Lamour. We're going to talk about Louis Lamour. He's just a master of westerns. That's what he was. He was just a master of westerns. From what I understand of reading about Louis Lamour and his life and his past, at one point he actually rode on horseback a lot of the trails, a lot of the old cattle trails and stuff that end up appearing in his book. So this time around, I want to talk about the Mountain Valley War. The Mountain Valley War, and it is in the middle. It's book 2 of what's essentially a trilogy, although every single one of them is standalone novels. It's just the same character that appears in each one of them. And amusingly enough, some of my favorite characters are side characters in the book, or in his books. And I'm going to cover a little bit on the whole, on the whole trilogy, more than I'm going to cover this particular book. But the main character, his name is Lance Kilkenny, former soldier, and I think it was a Union soldier, but I can't remember. But a former soldier, legendary figure within the Old West, like a lot of books of Louis L'Amour's, or really any of the westerns. You can't really blame the author when gunfighters and all that are the big pop culture kind of thing. It's no different than for the most part, Star Wars pretty much has to have Jedis, with the exception of the Mandalorian. The gunfighter has to show. Well, Lance Kilkenny is famous as being considered possibly the fastest gunfighter in the West at the time. He is legendary for it. Unfortunately, he hates it, and it negatively impacts his life, which is very, very true. That kind of thing could definitely happen back then, because you'd have a lot of would-be, wannabe gunslingers that the only way they're going to make a name for themselves is to take down a top gunslinger. So Kilkenny, his entire life pretty much is going to be, fighting gunfights unless he can somehow escape it. So he's, in almost every single book, he tries to change his name. In this particular one, Mountain Valley War, he goes by Trent. In some of the other books, he goes by other names. But he tries to change his name and tries to just be a peaceful rancher, cattleman, or just almost a hermit. Sometimes he just gets a small little homestead out in the middle of nowhere. And of course it never goes well for him. He always runs up against the evil rancher that's, doing his evil stuff. The ranchers just tend to be, a big bad evil rancher just tends to be the easy bad guy for him. Or he just happens to run into, just one little D-bag rancher son that forces him to draw his weapon or something along those lines. What I really, really like about the books is the side characters. You've got the love of Kilkenny's life that he pretty much tries to avoid for the first couple of books, just because he doesn't want to bring her into that particular life. But she is a very wealthy business owner, landowner, extremely wealthy. And then the various side characters. And this one has a character named Dan Cooper. Also has some characters that are basically the Hatfield McCoys. I mean, they're pretty much your good old mountain boy, put a rifle in their hand and you're not safe within a quarter mile kind of thing. Just the good old, the tough, no nonsense, steady kind of characters. But then he also puts in, of course, you got your usual bad guy, gunslingers and stuff like that. Well, in the first book, he ends up facing off against these two brothers, Cain and Abel, and they're both, I want to say well-known outlaws and both gunfighters. And he ends up facing off against both of them. Kills one, does not kill the other. Abel tended to be the more, I guess, evil. Cain was more of the, the younger follow behind his brother kind of thing. But, of course, since Cain survives, he ain't too pleased. So he shows up in book 2, hunting Kilkenny. In the Mountain Valley War, same thing. Evil rancher, trying to, killing innocent people, trying to steal their land, take over their land, want to build his empire, yada, yada, yada. It's the same thing in almost every single one of the books regarding Kilkenny, because the books are more about Kilkenny and his life and his attempts to build a life than it is about whatever conflict is in there. But you have to add the gunfighters and stuff like that in there. People wouldn't want to read it. It's Louis Lamour. It always has to have the interesting, gun battles and the tough people and the tough ranchers. I got a great book back there. The main character's name is Clay Bell, I think. Absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorites. I will be reviewing that one as well. But if you're a fan of Westerns, if you're a fan of Louis Lamour and you haven't read these, you've got to look up the Kilkenny novels. The Mountain Valley War is just the first one I happen to see that I grabbed, but it's book 2 of the 3. Kane Brockman, my favorite character, happens to show up in all 3 of them, which is pretty cool. Again, I happen to really like the character. But like I said, if you have not read it, you got to read it. Look it up after you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Look it up. Louis Lamour writes. They're thinner books. They're quicker, easier reads. They're just entertaining. This is what you want to kill some time and just have a blast. So check it out. Thank you everybody for watching. I know we got a lot of Louis Lamour fans out there as well. Thank you very much for watching, folks. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.